exponential smoothing method required only the current demand and the forecasted demand for the current month. Okay, so current month demand, actual demand, and the forecasted demand for the current month. So these two datas are required to forecast for the next month or next year. Okay, so this is the we can say that the advantage over the simple moving average method or the weighted moving average method. Okay, as we have seen in problem that we can calculate the previous forecasting also by using this particular formulas. Okay, so most important formula we have seen in the last lecture, that is nothing but f of t. Okay, that is forecast for the period t. Okay, is equal to f of t minus 1 plus alpha multiplied by in bracket d suffix t minus 1 minus f of t minus 1. Okay, so this alpha is smoothing constant. Okay, f of t minus 1 is the forecasted demand for the last period or the current period. Okay, and d suffix t minus 1 is the actual demand for the last period or current period. Okay, then f of t minus 1 once again the forecasted demand for the last period or the current period. Okay, so we have rearranged this particular equation in such a manner that f of t is equal to f of t minus 1 into bracket 1 minus alpha plus alpha into t suffix t minus 1. Whether everybody getting this formula? And after that we have solved one problem. Okay, one problem on this particular method where alpha as a 0.7 and demands for actual demands for September and October months are provided. Then the forecasted demand for the September month is provided. Then we have to find out the forecasted demand for the November month. Okay, so in that case we have considered the actual demand for September month as f of t minus as actual demand for the September month as d suffix t minus 1. Okay, is equal to 300, and forecasted demand for the September month as f of t minus 1 equal to 200 units. Okay, then we want to determine first of all the forecasted demand for the month of October, so that we can determine the forecasted demand for the November month. Because to determine the forecasted demand for the November month, we required the data of October month, that is nothing but actual demand of October month and forecasted demand for the October month. But in the problem only the actual demand is provided, forecasted demand is not provided. So for that purpose, first of all we need to calculate the forecasted demand for the October month, forecasted demand for the October month, so that we have considered the actual demand, the forecasted demand for September month as a f of t minus 1 and actual demand for the actual demand for the October month as d suffix t. Okay, म्हणजे आपण डिसेंबर महिन्यात आहे आणि आपण सप्टेंबर महिन्यात आहे आणि आपल्याला ऑक्टोबर महिन्याचं फोरकास्टेड डिमांड फाइंड आउट करायचं आहे. ओके, सो ह्या केसमध्ये आपण मागची जी म्हणजे करंट मंथ आहे त्याला एफ ऑफ टी मायनस 1 आणि डी सफिक्स टी मायनस 1 रिस्पेक्टिव्ह डिमांड, रिस्पेक्टिव्ह फोरकास्टेड डिमांड अँड ऍक्च्युअल डिमांड नोटिफिकेशन दिलेलं आहे, एफ ऑफ टी मायनस 1 आणि डी सफिक्स टी मायनस 1. Okay, so on that basis first of all we have determined the forecasted demand for the October month. So we have used the general formula, our formula, that is nothing but f of t, that is the forecast for October month or forecasted demand for the October month, is equal to f of t minus 1, that is nothing but forecast for September month, multiply by 1 minus alpha. Alpha value is provided in the problem, then plus multiply by demand for September month, that is d suffix t minus 1. Okay, we have just put up these particular values in the equation and we have find out the forecasted demand for the October month. Once we get two values for the October month, that is nothing but the actual demand for the October month and the forecasted demand for the October month, then it will be easy to find out the forecasted demand for the November month. Okay, then we have generalized the formula in this manner: f of t plus 1 is equal to f of t into bracket 1 minus alpha plus alpha into t suffix t. Okay, so f of t plus 1 is f of t we have given for the October month. So for that purpose, next month is November. So f of t plus 1 notification is provided. Okay, so forecast for November month is equal to forecast for October month into bracket 1 minus alpha plus alpha into demand for October month. Okay, then we have calculated f of t plus 1 is equal to 326 units, which will be the forecasted demand for the November month, which will be the forecasted demand for the November month. Now we are going to see the another kind of formula. Okay, please note down this formula: the data about primary production of electricity, the data the data about the data about primary production of electricity, the data about primary production of electricity in terajoules, in terajoules, in terajoules. Symbol is capital T, capital J, in terajoules, in Slovakia. Okay, so it is the, I think, state name of one of the state in America. In Slovakia, in Slovakia, over the year, over the year, over the year 2001, 2001 to 2009, to 2009. Okay, so data is provided for the year 2001 to 2009. Okay, we want to forecast, we want to forecast, we want to forecast primary production, primary production, primary production of electricity, of electricity, of electricity in Slovakia, in Slovakia for the year, for the year, for the year 2010, 2010, 2010, by using, by using, by using simple exponential method, by using simple exponential method. Take, take, take alpha is equal to, take alpha is equal to 0.29, 0.29, 0.29, and here once again alpha is equal to, alpha is equal to 0.26. So by mistakenly here A is there. So alpha is equal to 0.29. Two alphas are provided. That is nothing but exponential smoothing constant 2 provided. One is 0.29 and another one is 0.26. Okay. Now we have to once again determine which forecast is better. Okay. Determine which forecast is better. Means what? After taking alpha is equal to 0.29, the forecast is better, or after taking alpha is equal to 0.26, the forecast is better. Okay, so this is the question, and data is provided as year and observed values. Okay, so these values are in a terajoules, these values are in a terajoules. Okay, so in 2001 the observed value is 17,496, 17,496. In 2002, the observed value is 18,965. 18,965. Then in 2003, observed value is 12,535. 12,535. Then in 2004, 2004, observed value is 14,781, 14,781. Then in 2005, observed value is 16,722. 16,722. Then in 2006, observed value is 15,858. 15,858. Then in 2007, observed value is 16,053. 16,053. Okay. Then in 2008, observed value is 14,565. 14,565. Then in 2009, observed value is 15,747. Okay. So have you note down the problem, everyone? Data. Okay. So the data is provided for the years, and these are the actual demands. These are the actual demands, or we can say that observed values. So observed value means actual demand for that particular year. Okay. Observed value is nothing but the actual demand for that particular year. Okay. Now we have to determine the forecasted demand for the primary production of electricity in Slovakia for the year of 2010. Okay. We have to forecast the demand for the 2010 year. Okay, for the 2010 year, and we have data up to 2009 from 2001. Okay, so first of all here, we want to start the forecasting from the year 2001. Okay, to calculate the further forecasting, we need the initial forecasting. As we know that in a previous problem, here you can see that the September month 300 unit is a actual demand, and 200 unit is a forecasted demand. So two values are available in the problem only, and it is a given data. But in this problem, the initial forecasting value for the 2001 year is not provided. Okay, initial forecasting value for the year 2001 is not provided, or any forecasted value for any year is not provided. So in this case, okay, in this case, we have to consider the initial forecasting as a initial period demand. Okay, so initial forecasting is not provided, so initial period demand will be considered as initial forecasting. Okay, note down this point, please everybody note down this point. If the initial forecasting is not provided, in that case initial period demand will be considered as initial forecast in case of a exponential forecasting or exponential forecaster. Okay, so initial forecasting is not provided in the problem. As we have seen in the last problem, initial forecasting for the September month was provided, but in this problem such a initial forecasting is not provided. So in that case, whatever the initial demand, initial period demand, that initial period demand we have to consider as initial forecast. Initial forecast. Now the whole problem is depends on only one formula, that is nothing but what? F of suffix t, that is the forecast for period t will be equal to the forecast for the last period, that is nothing but f of t minus 1 into bracket 1 minus alpha. Alpha is nothing but smoothing constant plus alpha multiplied by d suffix t minus 1. D suffix t minus 1 is nothing but demand, actual demand for the last period or a current period, whatever you want to consider. Okay, actual period for the last, actual demand for the last period or current period. Okay, so this formula is useful to solve the simple exponential forecaster problems. Okay, so note down this formula in the solution once again. So f of t is equal to f of t minus 1 into bracket 1 minus alpha plus alpha multiplied by d suffix t minus 1. Okay, So everybody written formula. Okay, now in this case, the smoothing constant values, two values are provided. One is nothing but when alpha is equal to 0.29, at that time we have to determine the forecasting values, and when alpha is equal to 0.26, at that time we have to determine the forecasting values. Okay, so for that purpose we require two tables, or you can merge that two tables in one table if you are user friendly with this particular formula calculation. Okay, so no problem for that. But I have here mentioned that I have preferred that I have prepared two different columns. Okay, so as we have mentioned, okay, so make four columns. Okay, so one is period. Okay, so periods from 2001 to 2010. Okay, so we have to determine the forecasting value for the period 2010. Okay, and second column, that is nothing but observed values, so which values we have get from that particular problem only. And then next is forecast when alpha is equal to 0.29. Okay, first forecast we are taking when alpha is equal to 0.29. Then next is nothing but, next column is nothing but error. Okay, error, that is nothing but actual demand minus forecasted demand. Actual demand minus forecasted demand. So this particular error will be useful to determine the better forecasting between 0.29 and 0.26. Okay, which forecasting will be better, that we will come to know on the basis of this particular error only. Okay, so first of all, make these four columns and put up the periods, all the periods from 2001 to 2010, and respective observed values for that particular period. Okay, so that values you have to put up. Now, as we mentioned in our solution, that if the initial forecasting is not provided, in that case we have to consider the initial period demand as the forecasted demand for that particular year. Okay, as forecasted demand for that particular year or that particular period. Okay, so here initially the observed value for 2001. Everyone with me? Everyone with me? Have you written periods, observed values, forecast, error? Shall we move ahead? Okay, okay. Just write down this much only. Period, observation values, whatever the periods and observation values, that you have to write down over here. Okay, and just give the column name as a forecast. Next column name as a forecast, in bracket alpha is equal to 0.29, and error in bracket dt minus d suffix t minus f suffix t. Okay, error. That is the difference between observed value is nothing but the actual demand. Okay, actual demand and forecast. Difference between observed value and forecast is nothing but error. Okay, okay. So shall we move ahead? So now the 2001 year observed value is 17,496. Okay, now we have to consider, according to our statement, we have to consider this initial value, initial demand. Okay, initial demand as a forecasted demand. As a forecasted demand, we have to consider the same value for the forecasted demand. If the initial forecasted demand is not provided, in that case the initial demand, initial actual demand, you have to consider the initial forecasted demand. Okay, so 17,496 as the initial demand, we have to consider that value as a forecasted demand only. Okay, in case of a 2001 year. Okay, so once you have calculated this, calculate the error, error becomes 0. Okay, so 17,496 is a demand minus 17,496 is a forecasted demand. So this two values, if you subtract, you will get a 0. Okay, obviously. Then we have to determine the forecasted demand for the year of 2002. Okay, we have to determine the forecasted demand for the year 2002. Okay, so for that purpose, we required the 2001 year actual demand and forecasted demand. For that purpose, we required 2001 actual demand and forecasted demand. Okay, we have these two values now, so that we can easily determine 2002 year forecasted demand. We can easily determine 2002 year forecasted demand. So now for that purpose, you have to use this particular formula. F of t is equal to t minus 1 into bracket 1 minus alpha plus alpha into dt d suffix t minus 1. Okay, use this formula. Now f of t is nothing but what? The forecast for the year of 2002. F of t minus 1 is nothing but what? Forecast for the year of 2001. Okay, 1 minus alpha. Alpha here we have to consider as 0.29 only. Okay, so put 1 minus 0.29 plus multiply by 0, alpha value is once again 0.29, multiply by d value, or the demand for 2001 year is, actual demand for the year 2001 is 17,496 only. Okay, so just put up that two values in that particular formula and find out the forecasted value or forecasted demand for the year 2002. Okay, check whether you are getting the same value as 17,496 or whether you are getting the another value. Pranil is saying, can't we solve by using that formula which contains only demand and alpha? Yes, we can solve, but that formula is very large and there may be chances of, we can say that, there may be chances that we fail to solve that particular problem. Okay, but what we required now, we required the errors also. Okay, Pranil, we required the errors also, so that we can decide that which forecasting is better. Okay, so that is also another one question. We have to determine the errors. Okay, understood, Pranil? Okay, so use formula and tell me what is your value for forecasted value for the year of 2002. Forecasted year for the year 2002. Forecasted demand for the year 2002. Use formula. Okay, two values with us. dt also with us and ft also with us. Means what? If you consider f of t minus 1. F of t minus 1 with us and d suffix t minus 1 with us. No problem. So d suffix t minus 1 is 17,496 and f of t minus 1 is also 17,496. Okay, so just put up these two values and alpha value in the formula. Okay, so you will get the next year forecasting. So tell me in the chat box what value you are getting. So Rohit is saying 17,496. Okay, 17,496. Same value. Arbaz is saying same value. Anna is saying same value. Okay, just put up that particular value. Okay, everybody getting the same value, or you are calculating? Okay, shall we move ahead? Okay, so we are getting the same value, 17,496. So just put up that value in a forecasted column in front of a 2002 year. Okay, so here we have put up 17,496. So just calculate the error between these two values. So error is nothing but what? Demand minus forecasted demand, actual demand minus forecasted demand. So actual demand is 18,965 and forecasted demand is 17,496. Okay, so I think error becomes 1,469. 1,469. Okay. Yes, shall we move ahead? You are getting the same answer, 1,469 or same value. Okay. Okay. Now we have to calculate the forecasted demand for the year 2003. Okay. We have actual demand, but we have to calculate the forecasted demand for the year 2003. Okay. So for that purpose, we required the current month or last month, current year or last year demand, actual demand and forecasted demand. Okay. So these two values with us, 18,965 and the forecasted demand as a 17,496. Okay. So use the formula, our formula f of t, that is forecasted demand for the uh, desired period is equal to f of t minus 1, that is forecasted demand for current period or the last period, into bracket 1 minus alpha. Alpha we have to consider 0.29 plus alpha multiplied by d suffix t minus 1. So d suffix t minus 1 is nothing but the demand for last period or a current period. Okay, last period or current period. So the d suffix t minus 1 now we have to consider as 18,965 and f suffix t minus 1 we have to consider as a 17,496. F suffix t we have to consider as a 17,496. And we have to calculate f of t for the year 2003. We have to calculate f of t for the year 2003. Okay. Calculate everyone. So calculations are more important because you will get tuned to the calculations. Okay. Everybody do calculations. Okay, you are getting same value or different value? 17,922. 17,922.01. Same. Sunil is saying same value. Okay. Next, calculate the error. Demand minus actual demand minus forecasted demand. Actual demand minus forecasted demand. That will be minus 5,387.01. Minus 5,387.01. Whether you are getting the same value, minus 5,387. Okay, so do further calculation as early as possible. Take your time and do calculations. Whether you understood, how to solve the problem. Now I think so you are easy with this particular calculation. Okay, simple formula: f of t is equal to f of t minus 1 into bracket 1 minus alpha plus alpha into t suffix t minus 1. Okay, so f of t minus 1 is nothing but what? The current month, current year, or current period data. Okay, forecasted data, or the last period or last month forecasted data. And d suffix t minus 1 is nothing but what? The actual demand for the current month, current year, or the last month, last year. Okay, any wording you can use, last month or current month. Okay, or last year or current year. Okay, so these two values we required for performing the next month or next year or next period forecasted demand. Okay, to evaluate the next month, next year, next period forecasted demand. Okay, and we have to calculate. So actual demands are provided, we need to calculate the uh, forecasted demands only. Okay, so reach up to 2009. Whether if you have any problem, please ask. If you are not getting the values, and cross check with my values. If you have written any wrong value, then also suggest me to change the value. No problem. But everybody solve this particular problem. Okay, reach up to 2009. Forecasted values up to 2009. Everybody has to perform the calculation. Don't sit idle or calculate the errors also. Okay, errors also. So once you reach the final value and all the values are matching with my values, then please mention in the chat box. Yes, all the values are matching with your value or not. Over? Everyone? Over? Whether your values are matching with these values? Aftab, tell me your values are getting the same values? You are getting the same values? Pradyuman is saying yes. Okay, Abhishek is saying yes. Others also? You are getting the same values? Yes, okay. Chaitanya, Aftab, everyone is saying yes. Okay. So finally, we have to find out the forecast for the year 2010. Okay. Finally, we have to calculate the forecast for the year 2010. That is our desired value. Okay. And we have to compute that value. So you are getting the same value, 15,659.69. Okay. Whether you are getting the same value, 15,659.69. 69. Okay, so we are not in 2010, we are now in 2009, and we have to determine for the next year what will be the production, or what will be the electricity production in 2010. So that will be the forecasting, and that value we are getting as a 15,659.69. Now here at the end, okay, so we have to calculate the error. Okay, so total error. So error is, we have to take all the errors summation, okay, or nothing but summation of mod of errors. Okay, mod of errors means what? We should not consider the negative sign for that particular error. Okay, we have to just add up all the values instead of considering the negative sign. We have to add up all the values and divide by number of periods, divide by number of periods. So we are getting the error up to 2009 only. Okay, so we are getting the error up to 2009 only. Just add up all these 9 values. Okay, don't consider the negative sign, just add up, sum up this all the values and divide by 9. Okay, so you will get the value near about, I have mentioned over here, just do your calculation. I'm getting 1239.579. That will be the error. Okay, so error we have calculated because for which forecaster we are getting the less error, that value or that forecasting we are going to consider. Okay, we are going to consider as a better forecasting. We are getting the, we are considering the that forecasting is a better forecasting. So calculate error, and the formula for that calculation is 1 upon n summation of mod of e. Okay, summation of mod of e means summation of mod of error. Mod is nothing but what? If negative sign is there, that should be considered as a positive only. So addition of all the errors, divide by 9, because we have total periods 9. Okay, so whether you are getting the same value 1239.579, just mention in the chat box. Summation of mod of error whole divided by total number of periods. Total number of periods are 9. So do the addition of all the errors. Don't consider the negative sign for addition purpose. Okay, just or add only the numbers. That is nothing but mod. Okay, summation of mod of e. Getting same value or different value? Everybody with me or having some doubt, getting wrong values? Is there any problem? Whether my voice is audible to everyone? Same value. Okay. Okay, same value. Others also, I think so, they are getting the same value. Okay. 1239.579. Okay. So we'll move to next forecasting now. Okay. So once again, you can make the column or you can extend your calculation. No problem. Okay. So you can just extend 2 more columns. Okay. That is nothing but forecast for alpha is equal to 0.26 and error for this particular forecaster. So you can extend in the same column, or you can do another table also. You can prepare another table also for the another forecasting. Okay. So here we are doing the forecasting for smoothing constant 0.26. Smoothing constant for 0.26. Okay. So you can just extend your columns, 2 extra columns. Okay. Or you can prepare another table. Okay. Okay. Once again, you prepare another table, or you can extend just this 2 column. Forecast for alpha is equal to 0.26 and error as demand minus forecasting value. Okay. And once again, we are considering the as we know that as we don't have the initial forecasting. Okay. Initial forecasting value. So for that purpose, the initial period demand, we have to consider as same as the forecasted value for that particular period. Okay, initial demand we have to consider the same as forecasted demand for that particular period. So for that purpose, in this case also we are considering 17,496 as initial demand. Same value we are considering for forecasted demand for that particular year. Okay, forecasted demand for that particular year. So the same value minus same value is equal to 0. So error we are getting a 0. Okay. Now once again, we have to calculate for the year 2002. Okay, forecasted demand we have to calculate for the year 2002. Okay. Now for that purpose we required the current month or the last month demand and forecast. Last month demand and forecast. Okay. So both the values we have. Just use the formula f of t is equal to f of t minus 1 into bracket 1 minus alpha plus alpha multiplied by d of t minus 1. Okay, d of t minus 1. That is our general formula. Just put up d of t minus 1 as 17,496 and f of t minus 1 as 17,496. And alpha we have to put up at 0.96. So 1 minus 0.26 bracket complete multiply by 17,496 plus 0.26 multiply by 17,496. Okay. So whether you are getting 17,496 value, just mention in the chat box. Okay, whether you are getting the same value 17,496. Yes. Okay. So same as we have to perform as early forecasting. We have determined the values of the forecasted values for the particular periods. In the same manner, we have to determine for the forecasted values for the smoothing constant 0.96. Okay. And in a similar fashion, we have to determine the errors also. Okay. So calculate the error simultaneously. Now for the next year, that is for the year 2003. Okay. So dt minus 1 will become 18,965 and f of t minus 1 will become 17,496. Okay. Use formula f of t is equal to f of t minus 1 into bracket 1 minus alpha plus alpha multiplied by d of t minus 1. Okay. D of t minus 1 is 18,965 and f of t minus 1 is 17,496 and alpha is 0.26. Okay. So whether you are getting 17,877.94 and error is minus 5,342.94. Then for the next forecasting, the f of t minus 1 is 17,877.94 and d of t minus 1 is 12,535. Okay. So use formula and determine the forecasted value for the year 2004. Once you get the forecasted value as 16,488.78, calculate the error check your value matching with my value or not. Okay, if not, please correct this value, and you can mention your value in chat box also. So minus 1707.7778 is the error for the year 2004. Then calculate the forecast value for the year 2005. Okay, so for that calculation, f of t minus 1 is 16,488.78, and d of t minus 1 is 14,781. Okay, d of t minus 1 is 14,781. So whether you are getting the same value 16,044.75. Okay, 16,044.75. Okay, so then calculate the error. Error will become 677.25. Error will become 677.25. Then next, forecasted value. For that purpose, initial values or the current demand or the last period demand is 16,722, and forecasted demand for the last year or the current year we have to consider as 16,044.75. Use formula and find out the 2006 year forecasted demand. So it will become 16,220.84. Once you get the demand, calculate the error, and if you are getting the same value, minus 362.84. Then use that two values to determine the next forecasted value for the next year. You will get the value as 16,126.50 for the year 2007. In the same fashion, you determine the next forecasted value for the next years 2008, 2009, and finally you have to determine the forecasted value for the year 2010. Okay, so simultaneously you have to determine the errors. Okay, simultaneously you have to determine the errors. Okay, once you determine the final forecasted value for the year 2010, and once you calculated all the errors, okay, just add up all the errors with mod. That is nothing but we have to mod is nothing but what? We should not consider the negative sign. We just consider its value. Okay, instead of its sign, and we have to add up all that particular errors. Okay, we have to add up all that particular errors. Okay, so after addition, we have to divide with number of periods. That is nothing but 1 upon n. So number of periods are nothing but 9 periods are there. So whatever the value you are getting, just divide by 9. You will get value near about 1246.259. Okay, everyone getting the same value, 1246.259. Okay, Abhishek is saying. Now the second question. Okay, the question asked in this particular problem is that which forecast is better. Okay, now how to compare the two forecasts. Okay, so these two forecasts are compared on the basis of errors. Okay, this forecast are compared on the basis of errors. So the forecast which having less error, okay, or less error value, that forecast is better one. Okay, that forecast is better one. Okay, so now in this case, in the first case, in case of alpha value for, in case of alpha is equal to 0.29, in that case we are getting the error as 1239.579, and in case of alpha is equal to 0.29, we are getting the value of 1246.259. So after comparing these two values, which forecast is better? So the forecast which are having the less value of error, that forecast will be considered as a better forecast. Okay. Okay. So which one is better? 0.26 or 0.29? 1239, 1246. Okay, 0.29 is better. Okay, Abhishek is saying 0.29 is better. So Prathaman is also saying, Aftab is also saying 0.29 is better one. Right, right. Just write your answer. 0.29 is better one than 0.26, as we are getting the less error in case of 0.29 as compared to the 0.26. Okay, that will be your final answer. That will be your final answer. So I want to show something. Okay, so if you are uh, over with this particular answer, then okay, okay. So I found this one paper online related to the forecasting. Okay, forecasting using simple exponential smoothing method. Okay, I will share this particular method paper with you. So that will be useful to you to understand better understand what is meant by simple exponential smoothing method and how it is useful to forecast something. Okay, so this is paper. So introduction part is there in this particular paper. Then they have mentioned the simple exponential smoothing model. Okay, so mathematical formulation they have provided over here, and they have provided our formula f of suffix t plus 1 is equal to alpha multiplied by yt plus 1 minus alpha multiplied by f of t. So yt they have considered that the actual demand. Okay, so some significance notifications are different one, but you will understood better. Okay, and everything they have mentioned clearly. Okay, okay. Then they have mentioned what thing, how to determine the alpha. Okay, in our syllabus there is no there is not mentioned that you have to determine the alpha value. Okay, but in this particular paper alpha value is also calculated. Okay, in this paper alpha value is also calculated. Okay, and for that purpose they have taken the values in between 1 to 0.9, 0 to 0.9, and they have plotted the graphs also. Okay, for the weights. Okay, so formulas they have mentioned over here. Then errors also they have mentioned over here. So whatever the problem I have taken now, this problem is modified problem from this particular paper only. Okay, I will show you the problem. Okay, so this is the problem. Observed values YT 17,496 and up to 9 values they have provided. Okay, so here choosing the best value for the smoothing constant. So we'll come to know that what values or the smoothing constant, how to select the smoothing constant through this particular paper. Okay, then here they have mentioned different kinds of errors they have match up or they have calculated, and they come to know that they concluded that the smoothing, two smoothing constants, that is nothing on the basis of this variation. Okay, so 0.2 to 0.6 on the basis of these two variations, or we can say that on the basis of variation of smoothing constant. Okay, so they have determined that 0.29 and 0.26 are the better uh, smoothing constant as compared to other smoothing constants. Okay, and they have calculated this particular values. They have calculated this particular values. Okay, whatever values we have determined in our problem, that values they have calculated over here. Okay, and they have compared the graph with the observed value. This yellow line, blue line, you can see that this is the observed value. This dark black line is nothing but the forecast for year, forecast for alpha is equal to 0.29, and this red line, whatever the red line graph is there, value for or the forecast for the value alpha is equal to 0.26. Oh, okay. So in this manner, they have compared over here. Okay. So comparison of observed values and forecast values using alpha is equal to 0.29 and alpha is equal to 0.26. Okay. So in this manner, they have calculated, and we are learning these points. So we'll come to know that how we can generate the papers on such a such a methodologies. Okay, so this paper was published in 2012. This paper was published in 2012. Okay, here you can see that. Okay, so I have downloaded this from the simply just search by simple exponential smoothing method, papers on simple exponential smoothing method, and I get this paper for you. Okay, we'll get different kinds of a paper, and you can enhance your knowledge on that basis only. Okay, so extra knowledge you get through such a papers only. Okay, so I recommend you that please go through this particular paper. I will share this paper uh, on our WhatsApp group. Please go through that and get some extra knowledge, how to what kinds of problems we have to face while forecasting the demand for the next year, for the next period. Okay, and which points we have to consider. So that all the things it is mentioned in this particular paper. Okay, so it is okay with everyone. Everyone understood? Okay, so I will share this particular paper. Now I will take attendance, and after the lecture, I will share this particular paper on our WhatsApp group. Okay, it will be fine. सगळेजण बघणार का पेपर? Okay, okay, okay. So that is good thing. बघा जेवढं समजतं तेवढं, म्हणजे जेवढं नॉलेज आपण आतापर्यंत घेतलेलं आहे त्याच्या बेसिसवरती तुम्हाला भरपूर काही समजून जाईल ह्या पेपर मधनं, आणि एक चांगली सवय लागून जाईल. ओके, आपण ह्या इंजिनिअरिंग फील्डमध्ये आहे तर नवीन नवीन वाचण्याची, एक्स्ट्रा काहीतरी वाचण्याची, जे काही आपल्या सब्जेक्टच्या रिलेटेड आहे. म्हणजे आपण काय रॉकेट सायन्स वाचायला जाणार नाही वेगळं काय, पण जे आपल्या सब्जेक्टच्या रिलेटेड आहे त्यातलंच रिसर्च ओरिएंटेड काय काय पॉईंट आहेत ते आपण शेअर केलेले, वाचलेले चांगलीच गोष्ट आहे, जेणेकरून आपलं नॉलेज एनहान्स होईल. Okay, so I will take attendance. Roll number 1.
Yes, sir.
Okay. 2.
Yes, sir.
3.
Yes, sir.
4.
Present, sir.
5.
Present, sir.
6. 6 absent. 7.
Yes, sir.
8.
Yes, sir.
9. 9 absent. 10. Absent. 11.
Yes, sir.
11 present. Okay. 12.
Yes, sir.
13.
Present, sir.
14. 14 absent. 15. 15 absent. 16.
Present, sir.
16 present. Okay. 17 absent. 18 absent. 19 absent. 20 absent. 21.
Yes, sir.
Onkar 21.
Yes.
22. 23. 24. 25. 26. 27. 28. 29. 30.
Yes, sir.
30 Abhishek. Okay. 31
Present, sir. 31.
Chaitanya. 31. 32, 33, 34.
Yes, sir.
After 34. 35, 36, 37,
Yes, sir.
38.
Yes, sir.
Okay. 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44.
Yes, sir.
Okay. 45, 46, 47,
Present, sir.
47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56,
Yes, sir.
56, 57.
Yes, sir.
No, 7. Okay. 58, 59, 60,
Yes,
61.
sir.
Okay, Girish 60.
Yes, sir.
Okay. 61.
Present, sir.
Mahesh 61. 62, 63.
Present, sir.
Anna 63. 64, 65,
Yes,
66.
sir.
Swapnil
65,
65.
sir.
Okay,
Yes,
okay.
sir. 60.
66, absent. 67, absent. 68, absent. 69, absent. 70.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Sunil, huh? Yes.
64, sir.
64. Sunil. Okay. 64 present. Okay. 71. 71 absent. 72. 73.
Present, sir.
Prasad. 73. 74.
Yes, sir.
Arbaz. 74. 75. 76. 77. 78.
Yes, sir.
Vishal. 78. 79. 80. 81.
Present.
Pranav. 81. 82. 82 absent. Okay. So Sunil, yes, okay. Anybody else? Okay. Any problem? Okay. So we'll stop here. Just go through this particular paper.